Will William Zepeda duck Shakur Stevenson? Inquiring minds want to know. Listen, I didn't want to have to do this, but y'all made me. Shakur Stevenson, he's been calling out William Zepeda at this point for years. He really wants to fight. He linked up with Eddie Hearn in Rematch Room, dazn in Riyadh season, and he's still pushing for the fight, as is promoter Eddie Hearn. Eddie Hearn has done several interviews where he's basically saying that he hopes Oscar accepts, stays true to the proposed plan, and has Zepeda sign the contract to fight Shakur Stevenson. But at this point, I'm getting a little skeptical. And I told you guys when William Zepeda, quote, defeated Tevin Farmer, that was not a good performance leading you into a Shakur Stevenson fight. That's what I honestly felt. You probably should have looked stronger. The other thing is Tevin Farmer, he's a tough Philly fighter, former champion. This is not the guy you really would stage before a bigger fight like a Shakur Stevenson, because if you look, like, especially for casuals, I'm not saying for me because I'm an advanced watcher of the sport in boxing. I cover boxing, and that has been the case. But primarily for like more of the casuals and stuff, if they don't know of a fighter, they're going to do what? Go to Wikipedia or go to BoxRec, Google it. They're going to Google like, hey, I like William Zepeda. I don't know much about his announced opponent, Tevin Farmer. And then what are they going to see? They're going to be met with Tevin Farmer, who I believe entered that fight with 6 losses. So the record is not attractive. Now, again, I'm not talking to myself. I'm an advanced watcher of this sport of boxing, and I understand how this game works, the sweet science. There's a lot of guys whose record does not indicate how good they are or the problems they could give top level guys. But again, if you're a casual, you're going to see a guy with 6 losses who's been stopped before, and he's dropping Zepeda. And ultimately, I think Tevin Farmer did enough to win on Latino night, which is also an L because you have a Latino fighter and a Latino company in Golden Boy. You know they wanted him to win. So we'll see. We'll see if the fight gets made, but I don't think the performance was strong. And you would have to imagine if Golden Boy wants to protect their fighter, putting him in with Shakur Stevenson could be all wrong because he didn't have the ingredients to beat Tevin Farmer, who again has been stopped. Shakur's a different level, different fighter, a southpaw, but he's very tricky and he's never been stopped, and he rarely even gets hit flush. So all that volume stuff that you guys are getting hyped for, I think Shakur will pick that apart, to be honest, from what I've seen. So if in fact William Zepeda and Golden Boy do not fight Shakur, I need everybody in all comment sections to put the duck emojis and label it what it is, because I've noticed a pattern. When it's a black fighter who doesn't fight another fighter for whatever reason, even if there was no offer on the table, you have old media and they'll say the black fighter ducked X, Y, and Z. Like, people to this day will say Gervonta Davis ducked Lomachenko. There was never a negotiations until recently, and it was Lomachenko who decided he didn't want to fight for the remainder of the year when that could have been a big fight to close off 2024, right? You have people saying Tank ducked Shakur or Keyshawn Davis or Devin Haney, none of which have ever been any deep negotiations to the point where contracts were sent, of course, because Tank is the A side. So it wouldn't be them sending contracts. So that's where's the duck, right? And I could go on and on and on. You have people who are saying these black fighters and American fighters are ducking, but then William Zepeda, if he doesn't fight Shakur, y'all got to keep the same energy. Because Lomachenko, I just gave another example of a non-black fighter who could have, should have, would have fought Tank Davis, and he didn't do it. And you don't see old media jumping out their skin screaming that Lomachenko ducked Tank Davis, which he did. Instead, they're finding a soft place for Lomachenko to land. Oh, he's older. He's the same age as Terrence Crawford. You want Terrence Crawford to fight Canelo and Madrimov and Errol Spence, but then Lomachenko, as a champion in the division at lightweight, he can hold up a belt, be the same age, and he don't have to fight nobody because you think in his 20 fights or so that he's just done so much and he's the next Muhammad Ali. You know what I mean? It doesn't make sense. And you didn't see the same energy for Tank Davis when Lomachenko didn't fight him. You didn't see a bunch of people calling Lomachenko a duck. And we'll see. We'll see. I'm not going to say that Zepeda absolutely won't take the fight. I am saying I hope he takes the fight. But if he doesn't, I need you guys, Egos Army, to step up and let's hold people accountable in the sport of boxing. It's been very clear that Shakur Stevenson wants to fight. Whether you think he can win, whether you think he gets slept, none of that matters. Boxing is about show me. Just like in St. Louis, they say it's the show me state. Boxing is the show me sport. Shakur wants it. He's been vocal. He's been adamant. You have Eddie Hearn, who's been vocal and adamant, saying they want the fight. And it looks like a fight that Turkey wants. So all the cards are lined up. The only person that didn't kind of complete their portion of the mission was Zepeda looking better versus Tevin Farmer. But oh well, the rumors were already out. And this is why you shouldn't negotiate in public. And I've said this for a while. Eddie Hearn, DAZN, Riyadh Season, they do this a lot. This is the number one reason why you don't negotiate in front of the public. Because when you do, the pressure's there. You've already told us what your intentions are. You already told us that you want to make this fight and you want it to be next. So now people are going to start pointing the finger, pointing the blame, and jumping in the mix. If Zepeda does not fight Shakur Stevenson and it comes out as from the Golden Boy side, duck. Pure duck. Again, it doesn't matter if you think Zepeda beat Shakur, because the only way to be for sure is to see it in the ring and to line it up. And if you're a Shakur Stevenson, judging off Zepeda's last performance, why would he be fearful to fight Zepeda after how he looked versus Tevin Farmer? And you know he's not, because again, he's the undefeated fighter. He even took to his social media when Zepeda was fighting and said food and called the man food. So his confidence is obviously high despite coming off of a hand injury and surgery. Let's see what Golden Boy decides to do. But again, that's why you don't negotiate in the public, because now the pressure is there and the fans are going to know exactly what went on if this doesn't come into fruition. Plus, it's also a letdown when you say, oh, February is the best card and Riyadh Season has never had a card like this and you can't pull it off. So Virgil Ortiz boots needs to happen on that card, and as well as Shakur Stevenson, Zepeda. For more boxing news, subscribe. This is your one-stop shop. I got you covered. I gotta get the game where it needs to be. The game is on lock right here with me, and I'm out.